mic shaking, I can hear the crew call. Tear down the fourth wall. I wanna see who's pulling the strings. Hey, show me the crack paint. Show me the rotten the wings. I'm done with the laugh track. Feeding me spit applause. Tear down the fourth wall.
I want to talk about my lifestyle on K Visuals TV, season 3, episode 7. Right? First thing I want to say is turn y'all background music down. Please. Please turn y'all background music down. Because this was the first good episode I've seen from this season. Now, mind you, I haven't watched the entire season, so I'm going to give you all that caveat. But out of the 3 or 4 that I've watched of this season, this was the only good one y'all gave us. And y'all had the damn music so fucking loud in the beginning that I couldn't hear everything that Roman was saying about his relationship falling the fuck apart. This conversation between Roman and his friend was drowned out by this background music, and what I did pick up was good, but I wish I really could have heard it from the beginning, but it was so much sad ass notebook ass music that we couldn't get to the actual notebook ass content, right? Like I said, this was the first episode that gave me anything to actually care about. This was the first episode that had any substance, and this was the first episode that wasn't drowned in the reality of cameras following these people around. This was the first time that I actually saw these people just being and actually just living on camera, right? Roman, I hope that you're able to find peace in your own solitude now that you and Cuban have broken up. Or y'all are on a break, or y'all are not together right now, or whatever the case may be. It was giving y'all broke up in this first scene, so that's why I kind of led with that. But then when you were in the dinner later on, you made it seem like y'all were figuring it out. But either way, my advice still stands. I need you to find some peace in your own solitude, because watching this episode, you were giving lost puppy who don't know what to do without that man. And I get that y'all been in a relationship for 5 years, and it was a serious relationship. I get that, but the way that you were talking about the relationship, it was giving you don't know who you are outside of this relationship, and that is what concerns me. I can understand you being devastated about the end of a great love. I understand that completely, but you not knowing who you are outside of that is concerning. Right? And while I'll give you the empathy of 5 years being a long time to be with anyone, listen, I'm 3 years out of a 13-year relationship and a 6-year marriage, and it still triggers me from time to time. I get it. I understand. Especially with y'all having a business being tied together. To me, being in a long-term relationship with a business being tied to your relationship is almost equitable to you having a child, right? So I completely understand that thought process, but I wonder if the source of depth when it comes to his pain comes from not being able to call a breaking point other than them falling apart. Because as I was listening to his confessionals and as I was listening to what he was saying in this first scene in the episode, it felt like he kept looking for a reason why they grew apart. And it feels like he kept looking for a reason to nail down why they broke up and really put it on, this is what it is. This is what happened. Maybe it was this. Maybe it was that. Maybe it was this. Maybe this played a part. And it just felt like there were so many factors that played a part at the same time that didn't go addressed. And then all of a sudden one thing happened and everything just blew up. That's kind of what it feels like, because Roman mentioned something about Cuban growing into his career and feeling left to figure it out, even though he was a part of it and he was his backup dancer and he was, you know, a contributor to Cuban's music career. I wonder if Cuban is reaching another level of success and starting to change on Roman, or if Roman is feeling insecure that his partner is now actually becoming the star that they've been working towards. And now he's feeling like he doesn't have his own thing to fall back on because he's made his life revolve around Cuban and his career. I wonder which one of those things is more true because I feel like both of those things live on the same coin. Each one of those things have a side of that coin, but I wonder which side of that coin is more prevalent in their relationship at this moment that we're seeing in the show, right? Um Something else that really stuck out to me personally when it came to Roman talking about his relationship with Cuban was him speaking on Cuban's support system not being fond of him, right? Um This is part of what I mean when I say the collapse of my last relationship still affects me to this day. A lot of that has to do with my ex's support system, right? Um, and a lot of that also feels like, you know, sometimes when your partner's support system or your partner's family isn't fond of them, it automatically puts your partner in a precarious situation because they feel the need to be behind their family because they're all they know, but they're also trying to find a way to be there for their partner. And sometimes it leads that partner to skew away from standing on what is right because of who is in the situation, and it is going to become mixed and muddy. So I understand the complexity in that part of your relationship 100%, right? Because that still affects me to this day. Um yeah, listening to him try to find what he did that could have contributed to the downfall confirms for me that dating seriously when you're younger is counterproductive to personal and emotional growth as an individual. Listening to him speak about how he feels he may have contributed to Cuban's distancing from him was really hard because he was literally speaking about him developing as a person, right? Um This sounds like a relationship that is not surviving growing pains and the partners in this relationship's natural evolution, right? Um Roman talking about exploring his femininity really sparked that thought process for me because mind you, at that at that meal, at that conversation with the friend that he's having this talk with, he's talking about turning 25 and how this 5-year relationship is ending. So you've been with this man since you were 20 years old and 19, 20 years old. And it's just like, mm, I relate. I met my ex when I was 19. And by the time I was 30, 31, when we got divorced, we were completely different people. And if there was not a foundation of teamwork built into the fabric of your relationship from the very beginning for the two of you to grow as a couple and grow as a team together as you grew as individuals, then there was no way that y'all were going to work. And y'all were going to eventually grow apart from each other because there was not a focus on teamwork and balance in congruence with personal development. So it makes sense why y'all grew apart. And it feels like Roman feels that Cuban has become less attracted to him because of the femininity that he has discovered in his self exploration. And that is sad. That is sad because as someone discovers himself, you want your partner to be as attracted to you as you are to yourself when you feel like you are actually becoming the person that you feel like you're supposed to be, right? So I completely understand and relate to the dichotomy that happens in a relationship when the person that you are becoming is now no longer attractive to the partner that you are in love with. I understand that all too well. It is it that realization and that understanding is what started the demise of my marriage. That understanding that who I was becoming in my later 20s and my 30s was somebody that my ex-husband was not attracted to and did not like in the time frame of it happening because it was such a difference or it was such an assumed change from the person that he met. It really tore a big rip in our relationship that we were never able to recover from, and it only got worse. So I hope that there is an acknowledgement of that and they're able to fix that, or they're able to separate and make a clean break before this gets any worse. Because I don't want Roman to feel like he has to pull back on being who he really is in order to keep his man. Because that is selfish to Roman and it's selfish to Cuban. And it's selfish of both of them. It's selfish of Roman to himself, and it's selfish of Roman to Cuban of denying him the wholeness of who he is. And it's selfish to Cuban because he doesn't get to experience the wholeness of who Roman is and love a fully realized presentation of a person. And it's also selfish of Cuban because he's denying Roman that opportunity to truly be who he is, even if it is for that moment, regardless of if it's a phase or if it's something that he's just trying to figure out. He deserves to have that, and he deserves to be supported in that, especially because the way that he explained it in this episode, he made it very clear that he doesn't have a strong support system, at least where he is in proximity to where they're living. He may not have a strong support system at all, but it doesn't feel like he can just go to his mama house and talk to her. It doesn't feel like Roman just has sisters that he can call and just talk to and get that same support and love that Cubans so readily available had, that is so readily available to him. Excuse me. So all of that really just, it's a compounding thing that is tearing apart at this Jenga tower, right? Because y'all have this foundation of issues that create the tower, right? Which is y'all met at 19. Y'all Cuban's family don't like you. Um y'all don't have a clear understanding of who you are or who you want to be from a young age, because I think that that is also something that helps. If you know kind of the direction that you want to go in life from a young age, it kind of helps that maturity process in your 20s happen faster, so your Saturn's return doesn't slap you in the face as hard when it happens at 27, 28, right? And then on top of all of that, the age, the family, the self exploration, and not knowing who you are. Now you have a career that you've put your own self discovery on hold for to help build. And now this person is distancing themselves from you because of the career that you helped them build. And now, on top of all of that, that person don't like who you are becoming now that you are discovering yourself. All of that is just flicking bricks out of this Jenga tower that y'all have built on a rocky foundation, and it is crumbling fast. So, my advice, as somebody who relates to a lot of what you're going through, Roman, my advice is to stay single until you are able to find the same amount of peace and comfort alone that you would find being in a relationship. Until you are able to equally be at peace by yourself and in a relationship, you don't need to date. Until a partner becomes a complement to your life and not a supplement to your life, you should not be dating. Your partner should never complete you. They should only add on to the person that you have found on your own. So you need to go find yourself. You need to complete yourself, and then you need to date. And that is some advice that I am currently taking. Because after my divorce, I tried to date, I tried to get out there, I tried to rebound and do all of the things. And the best way to get over somebody is to get somebody up under me. You know what I'm saying? And that's not healthy emotionally. It's not healthy emotionally, especially when part of the reason that your relationship fell apart in the first goddamn place is because you don't know yourself. And because you're trying to discover yourself and figure out who the fuck you are. And that tore apart the situation that you were in the first place. So why now put an undiscovered person who is now unhealed onto somebody else to deal with? That's not fair. And I had to learn that the hard way. And I hope that, Roman, you don't have to learn that the hard way. Right? Whew. Now again, moving on from that, I appreciate Cuban and the other cast members for performing on the show, and I appreciate being able to see the people who do music actually perform and do their music. But I'm going to say this again because I said this last week. These performances are too fucking long. These performances are too long and they make no sense in the flow of the actual episode. I don't understand why. I just don't understand what this performance is for, and it contributed nothing to the narrative of the episode. It was just dropped in for nothing to fill time, right? Instead of watching Cuban perform for 5 minutes, why were we not watching him explain his side of their breakup to that support system? Why were we instead, especially because y'all dropped this performance directly after Roman sat here and spilled his fucking guts about his breakup with Cuban? Y'all gonna cut to the man performing at Pride for 10 minutes instead of cutting to him talking to the support system that don't like Roman, that he made such a point of mentioning. Why didn't we see that conversation happening? Like, I get that y'all need to fill time. I get that y'all need to, figure out how to get this full hour, but y'all have better ways of doing it. Because we could have sat here and saw Cuban talking to his mama, Cuban talking to his sisters, Cuban talking to his best friend, and sit here and talking about how he feels about doing this show. We could have saw a clip of him doing this performance and then saw him talking to somebody from his support system after y'all gave us a glimpse of this performance, and see him talking about how he feels about not having Roman around doing a show that Roman used to be such an integral part of. and how that feels with him not being around and him doing this performance by himself. Why were we not having that conversation instead of just sitting here and watching him buck to Beyonce beats? It didn't make sense. Like the show does, and then the show doesn't need to be an hour long. The show doesn't have to be an hour long. If y'all ain't got enough content to fill the hour, shorten the damn show. Ain't nobody gonna sue y'all. Y'all ain't gonna get arrested. Y'all are not gonna lose y'all monetization if you have it. I'm just saying, like y'all don't have to fill an hour with bullshit if y'all ain't got nothing else to show us. But if y'all need some ideas, call me and I can help you produce the damn show. Well, maybe not, because this is the final season of the show any fucking way. So it's really pointless for me to even be saying this. But since I am a commentator, this is what I do. And as somebody who's now been positioned to give my commentary from a producer's perspective, here we are. I just think y'all need to be doing better. Right? And speaking of pointless conversations, I wish we would have seen the set that Soul and these dancers were talking about at the dinner that he took his dancers out to right after we saw this 10-minute performance of Cuban bucking to Beyonce. Because we just saw this performance of Cuban, and one of the dancers that Soul took to dinner was one of the dancers that was in Cuban's performance that we just sat here and watched unnecessarily. So why do we not sit here and see Soul's performance instead of Cuban's? I don't understand. Or at least, why didn't we see a glimpse of Cuban's performance, see him go off stage and talk to somebody about Roman not being there, or he could have talked to Soul, damn it. Was Soul performing at this same event? Because he could have came off stage, talked to Soul about Roman not being there. Soul could have asked him, "How you doing, man? What's going on?" They could have had that conversation. They could have dapped him up, gave him some words of encouragement. "You gonna be all right." And then he could have wished him luck on his performance. He could have went on stage, and then we could have watched a glimpse of that. And then we could have cut to this dinner with Saul and the goddamn dancers that did double duty on both of the performances, because Saul made a mention of it when he looked at the tall ass light skinned boy and said, "You gonna be performing with more than one person, huh?" Because we just saw him perform with Cuban, and now he's sitting at a dinner talking about performing with Saul. It just made the whole thing make no sense. It just made the whole thing make no sense, and it kind of fucked up the continuity for me, because if all of this happened in the same day, I damn sure couldn't tell now, right? But moving on, Zay and Zai, y'all are mad pussy to me. Y'all, Zaquan and Zaire or Zaire or Zakir or whatever your name is, Zay and Zai, y'all are pussy as fuck to me. Because y'all having this whole conversation about a bitch sitting in the building waiting for y'all is weird as fuck to me. It's weird as fuck. Roman pulled up on Zay sitting in the restaurant already. So Zay was here first. Roman got here. They already greeted each other. And then there was a black screen saying that Zay went to go meet Zai outside. And y'all sat out here and had a whole conversation about a bitch that you just dapped up in this restaurant? That's pussy as fuck. To the point of y'all sitting here calling another bitch on speakerphone. Y'all sat here and called the other person that was coming to the dinner on speakerphone. to have a whole conversation about a bitch that's sitting in there waiting to chop it up with y'all. And mind you, she wasn't even invited. Roman wasn't even invited. Y'all literally stood outside and had a kiki and a whole phone call about somebody you could have just went inside and talked to. Both of y'all are a chop. Both of y'all are a chop. The only reason I watched anything that happened in this scene after y'all went inside was because somebody else showed up and had something else to say. The person y'all had on that damn phone. Doobie. Doobie doobie doo. Right? Because my whole thing is, if Roman wasn't invited to this outing, then why do we not get a green screen of Roman explaining why she's there and how she got the tip of them being there, right? We know it's production. We get it. But still, for the continuity and for the people who don't know that would be good to explain, right? Doobie, you sitting here saying that you've been itching to see Roman about some shit that you could have cleared in the moment when you were in the room with her is pussy as fuck to me. All three of y'all are pussy. Doobie, Zay, and Zai. All y'all are pussy, and Roman gathered all three of y'all, right? Because my whole thing is, why didn't you just ask what was going on at the damn rehearsal in the first place? You so mad, you got such an attitude, and you've been itching to see Roman so bad because she had an attitude at rehearsal. Why didn't you just ask her what the fuck was going on with her at the goddamn rehearsal in the first place? You sat in the rehearsal and saw the boy had an attitude. Why didn't you just walk up and say, hey girl, what's wrong? You look like you a little stiff tonight. You all right? You need a hug, a back rub? Do you need a burp? Like, girl, what's up? Like, you looking real janky tonight. And then they could have, and then Roman could have sat here and explained what the fuck was going on. And y'all didn't need to be sitting here at this, and he didn't need to do this pop-up that he wasn't invited to and gather y'all, right? Because based on what Roman explained, it feels that they moved the goalpost for Roman because they don't like Roman. And Roman called out everyone engaging in the same behavior and it only being smoke with him, because he sat here and gave examples of everybody doing the same shit that they're claiming to have a problem with him for, and nobody had a goddamn word to say to him about it. Who else got something to say to me? No one else had nothing to say to him. Could nobody sit here and clock nothing he was saying to them, right? Now, on the opposite side of that, Roman, I gotta call you to the carpet too, bro, man. Because while you sat here and popped up on these bitches, gathered all three of them about some bullshit that was their fault in real time. On the opposite of that, I haven't seen everything on this show, but it does leave me to ask, is Roman contributing to everyone having a similar energy for him? And what are you doing to give everybody a stank ass feeling about you? Right? Because a regular ass viewer, meaning somebody who doesn't study reality TV, somebody who's not in production, somebody who watches television just for the entertainment and the enjoyment and the escapism, usually in real life, they would say, if everyone has the same problem with you, it's you, right? If everybody got the same beef with you, you the problem, right? But this is reality TV. This is reality TV. So it leaves me to question, is Roman the common denominator? Or is Roman the target? Serious question. Because while In regular life, if everybody has the same problem with you, it does make sense for you to be the common denominator because there is no real reason for a group of people to gather up and gang up on you about some bullshit with no motivation. Like like the world seeing it 6 months later and making you look like an asshole. Um but it does make sense for everybody to gang up on somebody on camera that they don't want on the show that they're on, right? So it does leave me to question once again, is Roman the common denominator or the target? Either way, Roman gets a baddie chain. Common denominator or target, Roman gets a baddie chain. Because this entire episode was about Roman. Not only did we see Roman have an emotional display and we saw Roman be humanized in the situation with Cuban and him give his side of their breakup completely unopposed, unquestioned, because we didn't see anything from Cuban's side about their breakup. We just saw him twerking his ass to You Won't Break My Soul or whatever. We also saw Roman show up to a scene that he wasn't invited to and run laps around every single person that was in the scene that was probably there to talk shit about him because they didn't think that he was going to be there. Kudos to him. Kudos to Roman. You're my new favorite on the show. Because you don't give protagonist, you don't give antagonist, you give anti-hero, right? You give the person who probably shows up in the group that you're in as the alleged villain in their stories because they can't take you, but you're actually somebody who is made a villain in the situation because of the people you're around. And we also get to see the real side of you because of the situation that you're going through with Cuban. So I hope that you take stock of everything that this episode set up for you and make something useful of it, because this set up full main character energy for you. And I hope that you eat it up. I hope that you eat it the fuck up. Right?
Tear down the fourth wall. I wanna see who's pulling the strings. Hey, show me the crack paint. Show me the rotten the wings. I'm done with the laugh track. Feeding me scripted applause.